Elizabeth Chappell, a lifelong entrepreneur who finally found my niche. After years of new ideas and jumping from business to business, I figured out how to turn a craft into a successful career. In 2016, I started a monthly subscription box for quilters. That little startup has grown into a thriving, multiple six-figure business that I am so proud of. As a published author, designer of fabrics and patterns being sold throughout the world, my favorite thing to do is to teach others how to grow a career of their dreams. Each week, you'll hear from me or from other guests who are creative entrepreneurs, so you can learn exactly what to do and what not to do to grow a career that's more rewarding and successful than you ever thought possible. If you're ready to turn your craft into a career that you love, I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. This was a fun treat. Today we are having one of my past students, an alumni of the Quilt Pattern Writing course, who is doing so well with her business as a quilt pattern writer. So this is Helene of Scandi Quilts. Yes, she is Scandinavian. She is from Norway. And we're going to dive into how she has really run with that as her niche, how it developed, and how, because of that niche, she is having such great success. And then once we stopped chatting, we turned off the recording, Helene shared a few more things. She was like, oh man, I really wanted to mention this. So I'm just going to mention it here. She said a huge game changer for her business was setting up some systems in place. So, for example, she sells her patterns on Shopify, but it's all linked up. She uses an email system so that emails are automatically sent out as like a welcome, thank you. She uses ManyChat, and it's all linked up to a bookkeeping system. So she said, yes, it does cost a couple $1,000s per year to have these systems in place, but they're all things that you would have to be doing as a business owner anyhow. But if you can set it up to be automated and to be done for you automatically, it saves so much time. So anytime you can take something logistical that has to be done, but is taking up and sucking away your time, if there's someone that can do it for you or a system you can set in place, I cannot agree with her more. Do that. So let me introduce you to Helene. And if you do love this podcast, if you enjoy what you hear today, or if you enjoy the other podcasts, if you've not left a review, take just a minute to go and leave a review for the podcast. That is how we continue to have such amazing guests that share how they're doing this, how they're starting their business. It's like a mini MBA right here for free on your podcast. So to help that continue and to help others find the podcast, go ahead and leave a review. Now let's dive in and let me introduce you to Helene. Hello, Helene. I'm so excited to have you here on the Craft to Career podcast. For our listeners, can you introduce who you are in the quilting community?
Sure. I'm Helene, or Helena, a quilt pattern designer from Norway. And I run my quilty business, Scandi Quilts, where I design Scandinavian quilt patterns that are inspired by Norway. And I guess what I'm most known for is probably my quilts in the wild photos in Norwegian landscapes, often with skis on them.
Yes. Okay, I'm so excited to have you. First of all, I want to address, you've shared with me, English is not my first language. I hope it's okay. I love that it's not your first language. It's so cool that you are from Norway and that you do actually know English at all. I mean, well, a lot of people in America don't know a second language at all. So your English is amazing. But for our listeners, keep that in mind. And I'm really proud of you for showing up and putting yourself out there because it can feel a little bit vulnerable. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So our paths crossed when you took the quilt pattern writing course, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, it was the fall of 2024, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, where were you on your business journey at that time? Like, why did you decide to take the course and what experience did you have at that point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was just starting out my quilty business at that point. I had written a couple of of patterns, and I had kind of started to pick a niche. That's kind of where my quilting business started by coming up with a name. So that was already in place. And I think I'd already made a website, but I wanted to learn a bit more about the ins and outs of the industry. And I was working a bit more behind the scenes than actually putting my patterns out there yet. So it kind of felt like the perfect moment to take that course. Yeah. And I work as a graphic designer, so the Adobe suite is like my bread and butter. And I was kind of, I was a little hesitant about taking the course because I knew there was going to be a lot of Adobe talk. And I was like, do I really need that? But it really did turn out to be super useful because you do teach a lot of other stuff than just Adobe. And I also did learn a few great tricks in Illustrator that I still use today. So there's always something more to learn.
I am always surprised, like, how many ways you can do something in Adobe Illustrator. And I'll see someone do something a different way. I'm like, well, I'll be, it's like there's so many different unique ways to approach things. So I will say, when you took the course, I can't remember when it was, if it was on one of the weekly calls or it must have been before the final slideshow, because I remember you introducing your niche and I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. How did you decide to do this, like, Norwegian Scandinavian emphasis?
Well, I was at a point in my freelance graphic design business where I had kind of a little talk, a business talk with myself. And I wanted to come up with something that I could do in more quiet periods where I don't have as much client work. And at that point, I had just picked up quilting again after like 20 years of not quilting. And I realized that, oh, I love this. And I even realized that I had acquired skills that I needed to write patterns. Because in my early quilting career, I would just like be inspired, see a block, cut some fabric, sew it together, and then see where it went, right? But I realized that, okay, I can actually write patterns and sell these as digital files. And nobody has taken the domain Scandi Quilts. And there's no one on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere by that name. And I was like, oh gosh, that's a great name. I have a business idea. Well, for me, being Norwegian is not very unique because I'm surrounded by Norwegians every day, right? But the reason why my English is okay is because I used to be a foreign exchange student in Wisconsin
No way.
back in the 90s. So my English used to be fluent. It's not anymore because I haven't practiced
Pretty
for
darn
years.
good.
But Wisconsin is like in the middle of Scandinavian America, right? So I remember talking to people, like mostly older people, would be like, are you 100% Norwegian? So am I. So I kind of remembered that Norway and anything Scandinavia was a big thing. Well, any country is a big thing because people they love to learn more about their heritage, right? So I kind of just figured that this could be my way of standing out in a world of many other designers. And it's also very obvious to me that the visual heritage of arts and crafts in my country is with me at all times. So why not just stand on the shoulders of the crafters who have gone before me?
Absolutely. Well, and it's really actually amazing that you're able to recognize what's around you, because so many times people don't notice what's around them because it just seems normal. And it's not until you leave that you can say, oh, this is different. So for you to recognize the Scandinavian art around you It's really cool. I do want to ask, I'm from Minnesota, and we were right across the border from Wisconsin. Where in Wisconsin did you live when you were there?
In Alma, Wisconsin, which is on the Mississippi River, like
Oh,
in
yeah.
the La Crosse area.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I do know the cross area.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's I think Alma has like 800 inhabitants, and I lived on a farm about 8 miles outside of that town, so it was pretty rural.
Yes. Oh, that's so cool. And Minnesota also Scandinavian, which I didn't really know until I left Minnesota. And I was like, oh, all the little trolls and all the things,
Yeah.
it's very Scandinavian. So, yeah, but I do want to just ask, I mean, it's been really fun watching your business grow since you took the course, and I really love the niche. I mean, we talk a lot in the course about you've got to have a niche, you've got to be able to stand out from the crowd, and you are such a good example of that. Can you share how you've grown, sales and email list following, all the things?
When I took the course, I was mostly focused on like getting all my processes in place and streamlining things, writing more patterns because I didn't want to like say, "Hello world, look at my one pattern." I wanted to kind of build a little library of patterns before I started to approach marketing. I did build my following on Instagram from the very beginning, and I've been connecting with other quilters and quilty profiles on Instagram. But I think the turning point was when I launched my third pattern, which was right before Christmas in 2024, so after the course. And for the cover quilt, I used a collection by Ruby Star Society called Bird is the Word by Kim Kite. And I posted the quilt and I tagged her and she shared it. And that gave me maybe 10 sales that
Nice.
first weekend, which was, you know, not a lot, but still it was like the turning point that made me realize that, hey, yeah, this can grow into something. And even though 10 patterns is not a lot, it just felt like a good start. And it reminded me that Instagram and reaching out to people there is a huge part of marketing. So I set a goal right after that to post on Instagram every day for a year. And
Nice.
I didn't quite keep up with that. I didn't post every day, but it was a good reminder to show up consistently and post something, well, at least almost every day. So Instagram has been a huge part of it, of the journey. And I'm super happy with all my new Instagram friends. And, as you grow, it's kind of harder to keep up with all the comments and be as close with the followers as you are in the beginning. But it's still an important channel. But I just looked into my numbers for anyone who is curious. And the first year, like in 2024, I sold 24 patterns. So not a lot, but still something. In 2025, I sold 1,329. And so far in 2026, I've sold just a little more than 1,000.
Wow. Okay.
So
Awesome.
it's been quite the growth for several reasons, of course. And I have made 11 patterns to this day, and I have a couple more in the making.
Mm-hmm.
But these numbers are from 11 patterns.
So I'd love to hear what you do when you write a pattern. What does your launch look like?
I always start out with a story and an inspiration, because inspiration and storytelling is a very big part of my brand. So I usually start out with like a feeling or a place, like a cabin, for instance, or a knitted garment or something that I want to express through the pattern. And in the beginning of each pattern, I have a little, like a box with an image and a couple of paragraphs, just like telling the quilter where does this pattern come from in terms of inspiration. So I'm kind of placing the pattern in a mental image of Norway before I even start designing it. And then my usual route is that I design the pattern in Illustrator. I go through each step of the process and then I draw it out. Then I do the math at a website that I'm paying for, and then I put it all into InDesign, and that's when I start writing the actual instructions. And then when I finish it, I run it through a tech editor and usually also an awesome bunch of pattern testers, while I also sew my cover quilt myself. And then I photograph it when it's done. And I kind of try to build up a little bit of anticipation. Is that the right word?
Yep.
On Instagram for a couple of weeks before the launch, like saying, okay, at this date, we're going to have the launch. The pattern is coming. What do you think the name is? Or I'll have some kind of engaging question that hopefully will make people a little bit curious about the pattern. Or maybe what kind of colors would you like to make this in, or something like that. I usually run a giveaway every time I have a new pattern where you can like win the pattern. And then I send an email, post it on Instagram, put it out on my website on the day that it's launched. And I do keep up with a couple of emails during the next week, but a maximum of 3 emails, usually 2, 3. Yeah. And I also make content on Pinterest. I'm not a very very good pinner. It's more of a every now and then type of activity. But around lunchtime, I always put some pins up, and I do write a couple of blog posts about the pattern as well. Like one blog post for the inspiration behind the pattern, one blog post about the fabrics that I've used in the cover quilt, because I always get a lot of questions about that.
Do you? That's nice to be able to direct people there and say, here you go.
It is. Well, many of my quilts are scrappy, which makes it kind of a hard task. Some people are really disappointed when they find out that, that beautiful fabric was 25 years old and from your stash. That's disappointing. Yeah. But the reason why I want to have several different blog posts is because that gives me the opportunity to make more pins and pin to different types of blog posts, so that they don't all go to my one product page.
So you've taken a Pinterest class.
I've just been listening to a couple of podcasts, and I haven't really taken a class. No.
Okay. I'm impressed, because I know from the classes I've taken, they're like different. If you want to point to different web addresses, if it's all pointing to just the product or one thing, it doesn't get as good. Pinterest doesn't like it as much,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think Google as well. I'm not a big SEO expert, but I think Google also likes if your website is being updated every once in a while. So it's good to have a broad base of content.
And okay, I'm super curious. How many followers do you have on Instagram, and how big is your email list? Because I'm curious how you've grown those and how that's going.
I am just under 10,000 followers on Instagram, and I'm really hoping to reach 10,000 because I'm running a giveaway when I reach 10,000. So that's kind of a big milestone. And on my email list, I have around 2,700.
Nice. And you're getting this many sales a year from this size of an audience. That's amazing. Like as it grows, those numbers will just go up and up and up, you know?
Well, I think the main reason for the growth this year has been that I've also started looking into Facebook ads.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's been something that I've been thinking of doing, but I don't know enough of it myself to dive into it, and I'm really not that interested either. So, but I wanted to wait until I had a quite good selection of patterns and quite a good selection of photos to choose from and to make ads from. And I just started in March to work with an ad agency who are running the ads for me, and they like push all the right buttons to get the patterns in front of the right audience. So that has been a pretty good investment.
Yeah, it's May now, so 2 months. I mean, do they run ads to a free thing, or is it ads right to your patterns?
The main ads that they run are the product ads, which lead directly to a pattern. And those are the ones that have generated the most sales. And then they also have some ads that are more brand awareness with like lifestyle photos and Scandi Quilts, just the logo and an image of quilts in the wild, me skiing with a quilt, stuff like that, more to like build awareness.
So the skiing with quilts, how did that come to be? This is like something that you do, you know?
Yeah, I'm the ski with quilts girl. Um, Being outside is huge in Norway because we have nature close to us wherever we live. When you're in Oslo, our capital, you can take the subway to the ski slopes and you can just, nature is there everywhere. So we do a lot of hiking. We're outside a lot. And it just came natural to me to bring my quilts with me outside and take photos and kind of combine showing people in Norway with showing them my quilts. And the skiing part is really just that we have snow a lot of the year. So if we're going outside, we need to put skis on, right? So the first skiing quilt photo that I published turned out to be quite a popular one, and that's one of the photos of one of my freebies. So I get to show that quite a lot. And it's always just so fun to see those skis peeking out from underneath the quilt. Because first you just see a winter scenery with a quilt on it, and then you're like, oh, there's something underneath here. Yeah.
Have you ever seen, okay, I'm getting this idea. I can see this not going well, but I'm still going to say it. Have you seen like those women who like go skiing in their underwear and it's very attention grabbing? Like someone's skiing and just wearing a quilt. This is that would totally get people's attention. I think you should consider this or find a model to do this for you.
Yeah, that will be something for next winter. I will look into that. But I do bring my quilts with me whenever I'm outside on some kind of hike. And on the last skiing trip I took, I had two friends with me, and I just said, okay, girls, we need to stop here, and you'll hold this quilt for me while I photograph it, right? Okay. And they were like, sure, yeah. And then when I had done taking the photos, one of them said, well, now you need to take a video because we're going to run down here with that quilt. So I love my friends. They're awesome and they're a good sport.
That is so cool.
I don't know if they would do it naked, though, with just the
Naked.
quilt.
Really next level. You'll
Probably
really
not.
polarize the audience. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So, storytelling is huge, though. I mean, storytelling sells. And so, there's one thing to have a beautiful quilt pattern, but when you bring in the story with it, it really ups the value of a quilt. Have you seen that interaction? Have you seen your customers like really resonate with the stories that you share?
I think they do. And I don't really have any examples of like how they do it, but I do get a lot of comments on the post where I share my inspiration, and there are so many who say that it's so much fun to get a little glimpse into life in Norway, and many of them share that they have Norwegian relatives or that they've been here and that they loved it, or even like if I share an interior cabin or something, they will say that, oh, this reminds me of my grandpa's house back in the days, or like I think stories evoke memories, and they enable us to enter a different space even though we're not there, which is really beautiful.
It's magical. Yeah. It's quite powerful, to be able to transport to a different location, just through, and then to be able to feel like you're making a quilt and it's also bringing this story and connecting us. I just think it's really beautiful.
Yeah. And I have had people purchase specific patterns because it was going to remind them of a trip they had, and not even to Norway. One woman bought a pattern that I have with fish on it because she was traveling to somewhere in Canada, I think, for fishing, and she just said, "Oh, it's going to be such a nice memory of this trip." So we make our own memories, right, with the quilts.
And people are worried, oh, if I niche down, I'm going to, for you, I could see the argument that I hear so often. If I niche down, I'm going to lose people who aren't interested in Norway but when you niche down, it actually opens up more doors. Like this woman is going to Canada, we'll say, wherever it was, but it doesn't, she's not saying, oh, it's Scandi quilts. It's a beautiful quilt that draws her in. And it really does open the door to more possibilities when you narrow that niche.
Absolutely. And I just think it makes it easier to communicate who you are. And I'm not afraid of losing customers because I have a niche, because I'll just attract the right people instead. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes. Well, and if you try to be for everyone, you're really for nobody. It's very confusing and it gets noisy. But if you try to serve a certain audience, you want people to look at it and say, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me. I love it. Rather than like, who is that again? So you're
Hmm.
very memorable with that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I would like to talk more about the ads. I mean, you don't need to get into specifics, but as much as you're comfortable sharing, like how much are you investing? Is it worth the money? Because sometimes it can be an even, I'll put in $5 and then I earn $5. But even that can be a win because you're growing your audience. But is it like you put in $5 and you're getting $6 back? Or, I mean, again, you don't need to give specifics, but is it actually you're earning a profit with the ads when all is said and done?
At this point, I think I'm earning about $1 per, I mean, I'm earning $2 per dollar that I put into it.
Oh,
Because
so
there
it's
are
double.
costs. Yeah, kind of.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is not too bad. And it's we're I'm in a testing phase still, and we're still gradually scaling because I've been told that if you put too much money in there, Facebook is just going to think you're a scam, right?
Oh,
So you need
interesting.
to do it kind of gradually to convince the system or something. But of course, as long as I'm earning money per dollar I put in, that's not a problem. It's just gonna take a little more time to see any big results. But it's promising. It's promising.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done ads in so long, proper ads. And I say proper because once in a while I'll boost a post on my computer because then you avoid that 30% Apple fee that you pay on your phone. But if it's one that's really like a lot of people are opting into my email or whatever, I'll boost it. But doing proper ads, I've not done in a while. This is very motivating to think about that.
Hmm.
So, what do you think about that? Yeah. What other advice would you give to business owners who are thinking about how did you find an ad agency? Like, give us all your advice on ads.
I think they ran an ad.
Okay. About running ads. Yeah.
Yep. And I think the ad they were running was about making sure that your website converts well. And they had kind of a free test where you could get an analysis of how your website is working and what you can do to improve your conversion rate. And when I took that test, I got a 30-minute free call with one of their guys, and he said, "Well, your conversion rate is pretty good for this niche. I think it's like 2.5% or something like that." And he said, "You should actually look into running ads. We have a program, and this is the entry level fee. And when you reach a certain level of revenue,
Sales and yeah.
sales, then our fee increases. But you're at this level now. Do you want to talk?" And I was like, maybe this is a good time to start to look into it. So it did take quite a bit of like getting all the technicalities to work and setting up things. But now that it's working, it's going pretty well. And it does still take a lot of work from my side, both with making creatives, deciding what products to show, and also like following up on comments, because some of the ads are reels that they are boosting and or just reposting with captions where I have my ManyChat Instagram agent. So I'll like have in the caption that if they comment so and so, I will send them the link. So, but it doesn't happen automatically on Facebook. So I have to go in there and comment and send them the pattern manually. But I think I think it's working pretty well, because then you establish that personal connection, right? So at first I was like, gosh, I need to turn this off.
Right.
I have to remove that prompt. Please don't write. Please don't comment. Yeah, but I think it's a good thing that they're doing that. Yeah, but it's great to have an agency help me with that, because I could not have done it alone. Or I could have ran the ads, but I wouldn't have known if it was worth it or not. But they send me weekly reports like, this is working, this is not. This is your return on ad spend for this week, and this is what we should do moving forward. So it's been great so far, but we're only like 6 weeks into it. So
yeah. That's really exciting. I will say, okay, on the Facebook ManyChat, I've been using ManyChat for, I don't know, years. I just found out like 2 months ago how to use Facebook, but I had for 2 years been having that issue of comment this word and it wasn't. So I feel like I probably burned more bridges than anything, because people are like, where's my free thing, you know? But you can set up Facebook in ManyChat. It can be the exact same word, but I have now gone in and so Google it. I won't show you how to do it here, but yes, you can set up the same trigger words to work for your Facebook. So you don't, I mean, it just saves time. I mean, that's what ManyChat's for.
Thank you.
Right?
I will look into that.
Yeah. And if you have questions, DM me and we don't need to do it on the podcast, but I can walk you through how to do that. So
great.
Yeah, that was a game changer. So you mentioned with ads, you're working on like which things to boost. How do you choose? What has the agency said? Like, do you wait for something to go viral, or how do you pick what patterns to promote and all of that?
We just started out with first testing my bestsellers. So the patterns that I've had the most success with before. And that seems to be working pretty good. And I have a couple of photos that are like a quilt hanging from on the corner of a cabin, like overlooking the mountains in snow. And it's like super Scandinavian and very Norway. And the quilt is a quite easy one, but it also looks like cozy and colorful. So that one has been very good. And we're also just trying different creatives and different photos to see what's working best. And they're trying to make me take more lifestyle photos of like quilts in use. But I don't have very many people around me who are willing to be in photos, in ads around the world. And yeah, like taking photographing myself it's doable, but it's just a lot more work. So I don't do that a lot.
So when they say lifestyle, they want to show a person. They don't just want a quilt draped over a couch. They want a person in it.
They want a person. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to do a photo shoot with myself, I guess. Yeah. I do sometimes get my husband to take some photos of me. He's not a photographer, but he'll take the pictures if I tell him where to stand and where to point the camera and all that. So I have a couple of super nice pictures that he's taken.
Oh, nice. Are there some cool locations like a cabin or something, an Airbnb that you could rent out, or maybe your house? I don't know. But are there some cool looking like Scandinavian, Norwegian homes that you could use?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have brought quilts to our cabin. A lot of Norwegians have cabins, and we have two. Or my family has two, one by the sea and one in the mountains. So I like to bring my quilts there. Obviously, I do take some in my home as well, but I can yeah. I've been thinking about renting a place to go out and take photos, but it's also about that storytelling, you know? So it's been important to me to tell the stories about my own cabins because those are the ones who have been a source of inspiration, right?
Yeah, very authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So with photography, I mean, how do you have a background in photography? Like those beautiful mountainous pictures that you're talking about. How do you do those?
I do have a background in photography. Yeah.
Aha, okay.
Yeah. So I have been studying both graphic design, literature, journalism, and photography. So my whole work life has been around communication and visual communication. And part of my freelance job is also being a photographer. So I do have like the professional gear and all that, and quite a lot of experience as well. So which is super nice when it comes
Yes,
to
it is. I'm envious in the best way.
yeah, it's a good skill to have. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Mhm.
is.
But I do sometimes have lectures here for Quilt Guilds, and I often end the lecture with a few minutes about quilt photography tips. And my best tip
Mm.
is bring the quilt with you somewhere.
Yes.
Because if you don't have the quilt, you're not going to get that awesome shot either, right? You need to bring the quilt. And you can take wonderful pictures with your phone. Some of my mountain photos of quilts are taken with my phone. So just bring the quilt. That's the most important thing.
That's easy. I can bring the quilt. So there we go. That's half the battle, I guess.
It is. It is. You lose the battle if you don't bring the quilt.
Yes, that's true. So I've recently seen a new app where you have been featured, and maybe you'll remember the name because I'm not.
Quilty.
How did you get featured on their app?
Oh, I was on their email list because the founders of Quilty, Barbara and Ula, they have a website with with some quilt calculators, and they have some patterns. And when they sent out an email that they were working on an app, it's kind of like Ravelry, but for quilters.
Which I had not heard of before, but everyone else in the world knows about it except me, apparently. But tell our listeners about it.
Yeah, it's like Ravelry is huge in the knitting industry for knitting and crocheting. So it's it's a place where you save all your patterns and projects, and you take notes, and you have pictures, and you can look at other people's projects and favorite them, put them in line for your to-do list, keep track of your stash, stuff like that. And Quilty is this, but for quilting. And when they sent out an email, they mentioned that they were going to have a beta tester phase where they also wanted some pattern writers to beta test the pattern writer side of Quilty. And I was like, yay, I have been missing this, something like this. I want to test it. And I know that these two people are also graphic designers. So everything they make is super beautiful and looking very good. So I thought that, yeah, we're a good fit. And they're Europeans as well.
Okay, when you said the names, I was like, wait, are they Norwegian too? Like, what's the name that you said? The one with the O?
I don't know how to pronounce it because it's not my language.
Right.
It's Barbara and Ula. Ula?
Oh, Ula. Okay. I thought it was Ola. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Ula.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Has that helped your sales? I mean, it's new. This whole quilty thing is very new, but has that driven sales?
I don't know yet. I am because I haven't really found a way to track it. So that's super new, and I've had a wildly busy last few weeks. In my day job, I'm a graphic designer, and this is the annual report high season. So I've been like deep down in everything else, but I'm looking forward to like diving into Quilty and adding even more projects and patterns. And yeah, I've seen, I have added most of my patterns there. It's a paying service.
You pay to add, yeah.
Yeah, you don't pay per pattern, but you pay like a yearly fee to be a designer. And then it's free for everyone who's not a designer, just a regular quilter. Yeah. But for designers, they point you to your website. So like all the sales that I make from there go via my website. So no sales are made through a Quilty. Yeah, that's nice because it makes just everything's easier. Yeah, I just need to figure out how to track those sales coming from Quilty. But I have seen quite a few people favorite my patterns, which is nice. Thank you so much. And also add projects of their quilts made with my patterns, which is also super nice.
So did you know Revelry? Is that the name of the yarn one, crochet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I've been a member of Revelry for years. And my biggest problem with it is that it still looks the same as when I became a member like 15 years ago. So it's kind of a little bit messy,
outdated,
I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does have some super nice functions. And yeah, I used to be a better knitter than I am now, but I tend to get very obsessed with new hobbies.
You're talking to the right person.
Yep. So my shoulders don't allow me to be a knitter, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Really? Why? Okay, I don't know much about knitting, but why? What's with the shoulders and knitting?
It's just me.
Oh, okay.
Because I tend to have end up with my shoulders underneath my ears. You don't have to knit like that, but I kind of, I just end up super tight. And
Gotcha.
obsess over knitting all the time. So my muscles don't get a break.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's also why I usually have my quilts long-armed, because otherwise I'll just be like a little tied up troll sitting in front of the sewing machine trying to squish the quilt through there. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, for our listeners who are thinking of starting a quilt pattern business or a creative business, what advice do you have?
My advice would be find a niche, a real niche, and stay true to that. That's one of my best advice. And also keep in mind that it does take a little while to get the wheels turning. You're not a failure, even though your first pattern sells 0 sales for months. You just need to show up, be consistent, believe in yourself, and keep going. And sometimes even spend some money to earn some money, right? I know that's kind of a hard advice to get when there is no money to use, right? And so I've been privileged to have a business already, and kind of being able to like take little chunks from that business and use that in my quilting business. But it's a long-term thing. You just need to, keep showing up and believe in yourself, and don't try to please everyone.
Yes. Beautiful words. And you've done such a good job with that. You're such a good example of finding a niche and sticking with it. And really, the businesses that stick around, if you can just outlast, if you can just keep showing up, there's something in that consistency where people can, I know I can find you because you're still there. So yeah, I love that. For our listeners, if they want to find you, where's the best place for them to find you?
Probably Instagram. I'm Scandi Quilts on Instagram, scandiquilts.com. And I'm Scandi Quilts pretty much everywhere. Pinterest, Facebook, you name it.
And maybe some ads will pop up that people will see your stuff. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
If there's a quilt on a mountain, that might be me.
Or someone skiing, clothes optional with a quilt.
Who knows? We'll see.
Well, Helene, thank you so much for being on the Craft to Career podcast.
Thanks, Elizabeth. It's been great.
Helene, thank you so much. What a fun guest. Oh my goodness. I love the idea. Norway is a place I want to go and visit over and over again. And so to get a glimpse into your country and to get that experience from your quilts, you can see how that niche, the power of having a niche, works so well. We learned so much from you today, all about running your business, how you've grown it, collaborations, being on the Quilty app, running ads. Just everything you've done is just so beautiful, and wow, what a talented person. Thank you, Helene, for being here. And listeners, we'll be back with a brand new episode on the Craft Career Podcast. Thank you for being here.